And so now we're using a Prezi. We have 3 samples here that you might want to look at later. The first one is called Identity, and it was the 2013 winner of the Prezi contest. It was based on a TED Talk by Brian Stevenson. This one here was offered by Ralph Begleiter, one of his students in his Global Studies class, Global Agenda class. Did a wonderful one. Actually, it was a 3-student collaboration, and I thought it was really worthy to put in here to see the student work that can come out of this. And then the one I'd like to show you live is this one.
According to Gloria Ladson-Billings, culturally relevant teaching is a pedagogy that empowers students intellectually, socially, emotionally, and politically by using cultural reference to impart knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Here is a word problem that you might encounter in a typical secondary mathematics classroom. But let's dissect this question apart from its face value. A majority cultured student is typically one from the upper to middle class, is a suburban dweller, has at least one parent with a higher education degree, if not both, and generally holds high cultural capital. A student from this background may answer the question like this. A minority cultured student is typically one from a low socioeconomic background or falls outside of the white middle class paradigm. A student from this background may answer the question like this. What is the percentage of students that are of racial and ethnic minority in American schools today? If you answered 40%, you are correct. Most recent data suggests between 40 and 43% of students in American schools are of a racial or ethnic minority. What does the research say about teaching mathematics in a culturally relevant way? Culturally relevant teaching environment is one where teachers and students intersect. On moving towards a more accessible method of teaching, individual teachers can avoid creating unequal educational outcomes by coming to terms with the assumptions they make about students based on their race or ethnicity. This will create an environment where students can think more critically and creatively.
So I wanted you to think about this. Do you think you could make something like that for your students to assign as homework? Okay? So that they're coming with more of the foundational knowledge that you need. This isn't asking them to read an article. This is more engaging. So a bit more interesting, where's it going to go? And we have a special surprise for you, because that was made by our own Alexandra Lee. And she's going to talk about why she chooses Prezi sometimes.
I made this Prezi for one of my graduate classes this semester. It was the first time I used Prezi, and I decided to use it because a fellow in my cohort uses Prezi all the time, and I was really impressed with it. And I decided to just dive in and play around with it, and this was the result. So here are some of the things that I found out about Prezi. Prezi was developed in 2008, and instead of a linear sort of format like PowerPoint, it uses a blank canvas. and it uses something that's called a zooming user interface. So it allows you to like zoom in on certain areas of the canvas that you want to emphasize. So it allows you to explore ideas more smoothly and more naturally rather than just going more in a linear fashion. So with that said, there's kind of a learning curve that you have to get your mind out of, because when you're designing presentations, a lot of people are so used to the PowerPoint idea of moving from slide to slide to slide to slide. But with Prezi, it's just like this big blank wall, and you can go anywhere that you want to go on it. And getting your mind out of that is really, really kind of a challenge. But once you just get your mind out of that, it's really, really cool what you can do. The nice thing about Prezi too is that it's completely web-based. There is a desktop version that you can pay for, but why pay for something when you don't have to, right? You get 100 megabytes of free cloud storage. Again, that's the web-based version, so why not? You can pay $59 for 5 gigs. You can pay $159 a year for 20 gigs. You don't really need to, because I find that the free version honestly is enough for at least a graduate student. So I would imagine that for a faculty person, that's probably enough too, because you guys give us a whole lot of stuff. So I would imagine that our workloads are pretty similar. Some of the drawbacks, however, to Prezi. Prezi is not ADA compliant. And this is something that I found out by doing a little bit of digging, while PowerPoint is ADA compliant. And this is not ADA compliant because some of the accessibility options that you'll find on mobile devices, such as the iPad, things like dictation, that you'll find those options, Prezi is not compatible with. So in your teaching, you may have to be compliant with some of those rules. So with that said, this may not be a tool that you are even allowed to use, but you might be able to. You might be able to use this. You might be able to get around it. Let's see. Also, with Prezi, using your iPad or your iPhone, you would have to download an app because you have to use Flash with it. So that's the other thing. There's that web compatibility issue there. But the app isn't too bad. It's a little bit clunky for the iPad. So if you're using a Mac computer, I would suggest going that route rather than using the app. But if you're using a PC, you're pretty much in good shape. Let's see, I think I hit just about everything. Oh, no, also, another really cool thing about Prezi is that you can collaborate with up to 10 people at a time. So that's with not only presenting, so you can do live presentations, so you can have up to 10 people anywhere around the world, and you can all hit present at the same time, and you can be watching it simultaneously, and you can also collaborate and work on it simultaneously with up to 10 people. So that's anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. So that makes putting presentations together very, very easy, especially, I mean, with me and my graduate cohort when I'm doing, group work. I find it really easy to just get work done and not have to actually meet physically, and I'm sure that would be a benefit to faculty persons as well. So does anybody have any questions about Prezi? Sure.
Is it, do you know if they're working on making it ADA compliant? I mean, if it's open source?
That I'm honestly not sure. Because of the ZUI interface, that I'm not sure how they would do it, to be honest. Because of you saw all of the zooming. I'm not sure how they would get around it, because you can see that can be kind of very, very challenging to the eyes. So I'm not sure how they would do it. Any other questions?
And I'd like to say that we're halfway. We've got through 3 tools. Do you have any questions about PowerPoint or Google Slides at this point before we do the second half? No, we're that good. Okay, that's where I like to be at this point. Thank you, Al. Thank you very much. And the other thing I'd like to point out is just because it's visual and this is not a fluff thing. Look at the references that go behind this. All right? So students have to cite their sources